If I'm going to tell you that the story of Sulaiman alayhi salam is more relevant to you today than ever before, I have to try and prove my statement. And the irony, of course, is that the folks of our culture, of our time, are about as invested in this kind of story from every angle. I mean, we're living in a time of Hollywood where fantasy has really taken to kings and rulers and power and so on. So it doesn't matter what age you are, whether you're looking at some kind of Disney story, or whether you're from the Lord of the Rings generation, or whether you're not into films at all, but you're actually recognizing around us the political disaster that the Muslim Ummah is in, with our rulers and the oppression and the dictators, whether it's Syria, or whether it's Libya, or whether it's any of the Muslim countries, and the problems that we've had with our rulers and how they actually hold on to power. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the story of Sulaiman alayhi salam, of course, changes the paradigm entirely, because we understand rulers as desperate for power and wanting to hold on to that power. Once you have the chair, it's all about holding on to that chair or throne. That's why there's that old classic saying that all rulers are either butchers or they're meat. They either have to really act in a harsh way and kill butchers to hold on to that power, or if they don't, they're going to be eaten up and they'll be away with as part of history. These stories of the Fir'aun and all of the different ones that come from Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam's time illustrate that very clearly in the Quran. And as a juxtaposition versus Sulaiman alayhi salam, you're understanding actually how it could be. And that's why in a very fascinating part of the story of Sulaiman's story, we see his incident with the ant. And the ant itself is actually just one incident in a surah which nearly has 100 verses. Yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided to name the entire surah after that one verse, the incident with the ants. And that's why it's called Surah An-Naml. However, this surah has mighty themes in it. All of the prophets are mentioned, and there's themes of the creation and life and death and so many beautiful points. Yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala focuses on just one incident, one ayah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, حَتَّى إِذَا أَتَوْا عَلَى وَادِ النَّمْلِ, until and then when they came to the valley of the ants, قالت نملة, an ant said, يا أيها النمل ادخلوا مساكنكم لا يحتمنكم سليمان وجنوده وهم لا يشعرون. Enter your homes, oh ants, enter your homes, just in case Suleiman and his people, they unwittingly crush you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to bring our attention to this verse. He chooses the ant as an example of something which we would consider insignificant, which we would, right? And yet this ant comes to Sulaiman alayhi salam, effectively kind of gets in front of him and makes sure that the rest of the ants are safe from the march of Sulaiman alayhi salam. And his response is one of not shock or anger or, what you're trying to say or whatever, but happiness and gratitude. فَتَبَسَّمَ ضَاحِكًا مِنْ قَوْلِهَا. He's like so happy. He smiled broadly from her statement. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through what this ant has said, has preserved the legacy of the throne of Sulaiman, which is that not a single thing or a person or an animal was killed unlawfully in the dominion of Sulaiman, in the control of Sulaiman, unto which everything was subjugated to him. That's fascinating, especially for us today, because if it's not our political leaders and how we're trying to work out how to find a future for Islam in our current time, our rulers don't seem to find any other option but just to kill and kill and kill and further killing. It's a horrible time to be a Muslim and looking towards our political future. But you might say, hold on, how is that relevant to me at the individual level? I'm never going to be a king or a ruler. Well, actually, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course, gives everyone the ability of authority. Everyone has a dominion. Everyone has a mulk, whether it's with their family, or whether it's their house, whether it's their brothers, their sisters. Everyone has been given authority, whether they have responsibility from work. And how you deal with things is what's going to make you. And so that's why the story of Sulaiman alayhi salam, there are so many lessons just in him and all of the incidents, as well as the ayat which are related to his story, like this one, because this is not really about Sulaiman alayhi salam, but about an ant giving us a lesson. In Sahih Bukhari, we are told that the Prophet ﷺ, he said that one of the prophets was bit by an ant until he burned the entire colony down. And he was reproached by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who said, you burned down, you killed an entire nation that made tasbih of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So think about today how we respond when we are angered or when we are oppressed. What is our response? How do we live the example of Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam? There are so many things actually from this story, this incredible story, and that is for dominion.